Have you ever looked up at the moon and felt something? A pull, a whisper, a sense that it's more than just a dusty rock in the sky? Ever since I was a kid, I'd sit by my bedroom window, staring at that glowing orb, imagining it held secrets. Secrets of ancient civilizations, forgotten technologies, or even whispers from beyond the stars. What if I told you that the moon might be hiding relics of a past we can't even fathom? Relics that could rewrite everything we think we know about history? Buckle up, because today we're diving into the mystery of ancient lunar artifacts. Fact, fiction, or something in between? Let's find out. Welcome to Cosmic Chronicles, where we unravel the universe's greatest mysteries, one story at a time. I'm your host, Mark, and today we're embarking on a journey to the moon. Not just the moon we see in science textbooks, but a moon that might hold secrets older than humanity itself. From ancient myths to modern-day conspiracies, from grainy lunar photos to cutting-edge science, we're going to explore it all. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's blast off into a story that's equal parts wonder, skepticism, and discovery. The moon has always been more than just a light in the night sky. For thousands of years, it's been a canvas for our dreams, our fears, and our stories. Ancient Sumerians called it Nana, the god of wisdom. The Greeks worshipped it as Artemis, the huntress. In China, the moon inspired festivals and tales of Chang'e, the goddess who lives there still. Every culture, from the Mayans to the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, saw the moon as something sacred, something alive. They built calendars around its cycles, aligned their temples to its phases, and told stories of its power. Why? Because the moon feels like it's hiding something. It's close enough to touch, yet far enough to keep its secrets. Think about it. The moon controls the tides, influences our moods, and even inspired the first calendars that helped humans plant crops and plan their lives. It's no wonder we've always looked up and wondered, what's really up there? Could the moon be more than a barren rock? Could it hold evidence of a forgotten past? Artifacts left by ancient civilizations? Or maybe even something not from Earth? That's the question we're chasing today, and trust me, it's a wild ride. Here's the hook. Some people believe the moon is hiding relics, structures, tools, or even technology from a time long before humans walked the Earth. These aren't just wild conspiracy theories. They're ideas backed by intriguing clues, blurry photos, and stories from astronauts themselves. But before we get carried away, we're going to approach this like detectives. We'll look at the evidence, weigh the science, and decide for ourselves. Are ancient lunar artifacts fact, fiction, or something in the gray space between? Let's start with the evidence, or at least what some people call evidence. The idea of ancient lunar artifacts isn't new. It goes back decades, sparked by the Apollo missions in the late 1960s and early 1970s. When astronauts first set foot on the moon, they brought back more than just rocks. They brought back questions, strange shapes in photos, unusual radio signals, and even whispers among mission control about things that didn't quite add up. Take this photo from Apollo 11. Look closely. See that shadow? Some say it's just a rock formation, but others swear it looks like a structure, a wall, a tower, maybe even part of a building. In 1969, when this image hit the public, it sparked a firestorm. UFO enthusiasts and amateur archaeologists pored over every pixel, claiming it was proof of an ancient lunar civilization. And this wasn't the only photo. Apollo 15, 16, and 17 all captured images that raised eyebrows, shapes that looked too perfect, too angular to be natural. Then there's the story of the lunar monolith. In the 1990s, a researcher named Richard C. Hoagland pointed to a photo from the Apollo 10 mission showing what he called a shard, a tall, spire-like object casting a shadow on the lunar surface. Hoagland claimed it was artificial, possibly a remnant of an advanced civilization. He even tied it to similar claims about Mars, like the infamous face on Mars. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like sci-fi. But here's the thing. Hoagland wasn't just some guy with a telescope. He was a former NASA consultant, and his ideas got people talking. And it's not just photos. There are stories from astronauts themselves. Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon, once hinted in an interview that they saw things up there. Things they were told not to talk about. Now, he didn't say alien artifacts, but his words fueled speculation. Another astronaut, Edgar Mitchell, openly talked about extraterrestrial life and suggested the moon might hold clues we're not ready to understand. These are astronauts, folks. People who've been there, walked the surface, and seen it with their own eyes. Then there's the transient lunar phenomena. Strange lights, flashes, and glows reported on the moon for centuries. Astronomers have documented these for years, even before telescopes got fancy. Some say they're just volcanic gases or micrometeorite impacts, but others wonder if they're signs of technology, ancient machines still humming beneath the surface. In 1967, NASA's Lunar Orbiter program captured images of what some called domes, rounded structures that didn't quite fit with the moon's natural geology. Here's where it gets juicy. Some researchers have gone as far as to suggest these artifacts aren't human at all. They point to the moon's age, 4.5 billion years, older than Earth's oldest rocks, and say it could have been a hub for extraterrestrial visitors long before humans evolved. They call it the ancient alien hypothesis. According to this idea, the moon was a base, a way station, or even a giant spaceship parked in our orbit. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me because there's more to unpack. Before we get too carried away, let's hit pause and look at the other side. Could these so-called artifacts just be tricks of the eye? Natural formations mistaken for something more? Let's bring in the scientists and see what they have to say. Okay, let's ground ourselves in science for a bit. The moon is a wild place, pockmarked with craters, scarred by ancient lava flows and shaped by billions of years of cosmic chaos. Scientists have a pretty good handle on how it got that way. Most of the moon's surface is covered in regolith, a fancy word for moon dust, created by countless meteorite impacts. Those craters? They're not alien landing pads. They're the result of space rocks slamming into the moon at thousands of miles per hour. But what about those weird shapes in photos? The towers, the walls, the domes? Scientists have an answer for that too, pareidolia. It's a psychological phenomenon where our brains see patterns, like faces or structures, in random images. Think about how you see a bunny in the clouds or a face in a piece of toast. The moon's shadows, lighting, and rough terrain can trick our eyes into seeing things that aren't really there. Take the lunar monolith from Apollo 10. When NASA re-examined the photos with higher resolution, they found it was just an oddly shaped boulder, lit in a way that made it look artificial. The same goes for those domes. Geologists say they're likely volcanic features or impact-related formations, not alien skyscrapers. And those transient lunar phenomena? Most are explained by natural processes like outgassing, where trapped gases escape from the moon's interior, or even seismic activity. Here's the kicker. The moon's surface is one of the most studied places in our solar system. We've mapped it down to the meter. We've sent orbiters, rovers, and humans. If there were giant alien statues or ancient cities, wouldn't we have found them by now? NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, launched in 2009, has taken images so detailed you could spot a picnic table if it was up there. So far, no picnic tables, no monoliths, just a whole lot of dust and rocks. But here's where I push back a little. Science is great at explaining what we can see, but what about what we haven't seen? The moon is huge, about a quarter the size of Earth, and we've only explored a tiny fraction of it up close. Could there be something buried under the regolith, hidden in a crater, or tucked away on the far side of the moon? Scientists say it's unlikely, but they also admit we don't know everything. And that's where the mystery creeps back in. So where do we go from here? The moon isn't done with us yet. In fact, we're entering a new golden age of lunar exploration. NASA's Artemis program is gearing up to send humans back to the moon by 2026, with plans for a permanent lunar base. China, India, and private companies like SpaceX are also racing to the moon, launching rovers, orbiters, and maybe even mining operations. These missions aren't just about planting flags. They're about digging deeper, literally and figuratively, into the moon's past. Imagine this. A rover trundles into a lunar crater, its drill piercing the regolith. Suddenly it hits something that isn't rock or dust. A piece of metal? A fragment of an ancient tool? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. The moon's lack of atmosphere means anything left there would be preserved for billions of years. No rust, no decay, just time frozen in place. If there are artifacts, they could tell us not just about the moon, but about the origins of our solar system, or even life itself. Here's something cool. The moon might hold clues to Earth's own ancient past. Scientists think it formed when a Mars-sized object smashed into Earth 4.5 billion years ago, flinging debris into orbit that became the moon. That means the moon's rocks are like a time capsule, preserving materials from the early solar system. Could they also preserve evidence of visitors, human, alien, or otherwise, who stopped by long ago? It's a long shot, but it's not impossible. And let's not forget the far side of the moon, the side we never see from Earth. It's a rugged, crater-filled wilderness that's barely been explored. China's Chang'e 4 mission landed there in 2019, the first to do so, and found, well, not much yet. But every mission brings us closer to answering the big question. What's really out there? The moon's mysteries keep us coming back, keep us dreaming, keep us searching. So, are ancient lunar artifacts fact or fiction? Truth is, we don't know. And that's what makes it so exciting. The moon is a reminder that the universe is vast, strange, and full of possibilities. Maybe those weird shapes are just rocks. Maybe those lights are just gases. But maybe, just maybe, there's something more. Something waiting to be found. Something that could change everything. What I love about this mystery is what it says about us. We humans are curious creatures. We look at the stars and ask, what if? We build telescopes, launch rockets, and dream of other worlds. The moon, with its quiet craters and ancient scars, is a mirror for that curiosity. It challenges us to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to keep balancing wonder with reason. So what do you think? Are ancient lunar artifacts out there waiting to be found? Or are they just stories we tell to make the universe feel a little less lonely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you think. And if you loved this cosmic journey, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until then, keep looking up, keep wondering, and keep chasing the mysteries of the universe. This is Mark, signing off. See you in the stars. Let's take a step back, way back to the cradle of civilization. In ancient Sumer, around 4,000 years ago, priests stood on ziggurats, their eyes fixed on the moon. They called it Nana, the god of wisdom, and believed it guided their destinies. They carved its phases into clay tablets, tracking its cycles with a precision that still impresses scientists today. One story tells of a priest named Enheduanna, the world's first known poet, who wrote hymns to the moon, describing it as a great bull lighting up the night. Can you imagine? Thousands of years ago, people were as obsessed with the moon as we are today. Across the world, in ancient China, the moon was home to Chang'e, a goddess who drank an elixir of immortality and floated to the lunar surface. Every year during the Mid-Autumn Festival, millions still celebrate her story, lighting lanterns and eating mooncakes under the full moon's glow. These stories aren't just myths. They're proof of the moon's hold on our imaginations. From the Mayans, who aligned their pyramids with lunar cycles, to the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, who saw the moon as a creator spirit, every culture has felt its pull. I remember being 9 years old, camping with my family in the mountains. The moon was so bright it felt like daytime. I'd sneak out of my tent, lie on the grass, and just stare. I'd imagine cities up there, glowing in the craters, or ancient machines humming beneath the surface. Even then, I knew the moon was special. Not just a rock, but a story waiting to be told. That's what drives me to make videos like this, to share that sense of wonder with you. Fast forward to the 20th century when we finally got a chance to touch the moon. The Apollo missions were humanity's greatest adventure, but they also sparked new mysteries. Let's dive into one of the most famous pieces of evidence for lunar artifacts, the Apollo 11 photo known as the Castle. Taken during the first moon landing in 1969, it shows a shadowy shape in a crater, a shape that some say looks like a fortress or tower. UFO researchers went wild, calling it proof of an ancient structure. NASA, of course, said it was just a rock formation, but the debate rages on. Let's break it down. The photo shows a dark, angular shape, about 20 meters tall, casting a shadow that's too straight to be natural, or so the theorists claim. They point to the sharp edges, the way it seems to rise from the surface like a man-made object. But here's the catch. The moon's lighting is weird, with no atmosphere to scatter light. Shadows are razor-sharp, making ordinary rocks look like sculptures. Still, when you stare at that photo, it's hard not to wonder. Could it be something more? Picture this. It's July 20th, 1969. An astronaut, let's call him Jack, steps onto the lunar surface. His boots crunch in the regolith. He's scanning the horizon when he sees it, a shape that doesn't belong. "Houston," he whispers into his radio. "You're not gonna believe this." Mission control goes silent. Now, this is just a story, but it captures the thrill of those early missions. The astronauts were explorers in the truest sense, and they knew they were stepping into the unknown. The castle isn't the only mystery. Apollo 15 captured images of what some call the bridge, a long, straight feature that looks like it could be artificial. Apollo 17 found a boulder with strange markings, dubbed the Data's Head because it resembles a robot's face. And then there's the shard from Apollo 10, that spire-like object we mentioned earlier. Each of these has a scientific explanation: erosion, impact patterns, or just our brains playing tricks. But together they create a puzzle that's hard to dismiss. I reached out to Dr. Sarah Carter, a researcher who spent decades studying lunar anomalies. Here's what she had to say. The moon is too old, too untouched, to rule out the possibility of artifacts. We've only scratched the surface, literally. If there's even a chance of ancient technology up there, we owe it to ourselves to keep looking. Dr. Carter's not alone. Thousands of people, from amateur sleuths to former NASA insiders, believe the moon holds secrets we're just starting to uncover. This brings us to the big one, the ancient alien hypothesis. Popularized by authors like Erich von Däniken, it suggests that extraterrestrials visited our solar system long ago, leaving behind traces of their presence. The moon, with its airless, unchanging surface, would be the perfect place to preserve those traces. Von Däniken points to myths, like the Sumerian stories of gods descending from the sky, as evidence that ancient humans saw these visitors. Could the moon have been their base? A cosmic outpost watching over Earth? Here's a wild thought. What if the moon itself is artificial? Some theorists call it a hollow moon, pointing to strange seismic readings from Apollo missions that suggested the moon rang like a bell when struck. They say it could be a giant spacecraft parked in orbit to monitor Earth. Now, I know that sounds out there, but the moon is weird. It's bigger than it should be for a planet our size, and its orbit is almost too perfect. Scientists have solid explanations for these quirks, but they make you wonder, what if there's more to the story? Okay, let's bring it back to Earth, or rather, the moon's surface. Scientists have a lot to say about these so-called artifacts. Dr. Emily Chen, a planetary geologist, explains, the moon's surface is a chaotic place. Impacts create all kinds of shapes, craters, ridges, even spires. Our brains are wired to see order, so we turn random rocks into towers or faces. Dr. Chen's point is clear. Nature is a master sculptor, and the moon is its canvas. Let's talk craters. They're formed when meteorites hit the moon at incredible speeds, blasting out debris and leaving scars. Some craters have central peaks, hills pushed up by the impact, that can look like artificial structures from a distance. Add in the moon's volcanic past, with lava flows that created domes and ridges, and you've got a recipe for confusion. That bridge from Apollo 15? Likely a natural ridge formed by tectonic activity. The Data's Head? Just a boulder shaped by billions of years of impacts. To get to the bottom of this, I imagined a debate between Dr. Carter and Dr. Chen. Dr. Carter argues, the moon's too big, too strange to be just a rock. We need to keep an open mind. Dr. Chen counters, an open mind is great, but we need evidence, not imagination. Who's right? That's for you to decide. But one thing's clear, the moon keeps us guessing. The good news? We're not done exploring. NASA's Artemis program is set to change the game. By 2026, astronauts will return to the moon, armed with better tech than ever. They'll explore new regions, like the lunar South Pole, where water ice hides in shadowed craters. Private companies are joining the race too. SpaceX wants to build lunar outposts, and China's planning a research station. Each mission brings us closer to answering the big questions. Imagine this. It's 2030 and a lunar rover digs into a crater. Its sensors ping something unusual, a metallic object etched with symbols we've never seen. Scientists scramble to analyze it, and the world holds its breath. Is it human? Alien? Something else entirely? This is the dream that keeps explorers going, the chance to find something that changes everything. At the end of the day, the moon is more than a mystery. It's a challenge. It dares us to keep asking questions, to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Whether ancient lunar artifacts are real or not, they remind us why we explore. Because the universe is full of wonders, and we're just starting to understand them. So what's your take? Fact, fiction, or something in between? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep this cosmic conversation going.